How are you going to beat Hillary Clinton?
Look, I think Americans are looking forward, not backward. 4 more years of President Obama's policies bankrupt our country, turn the American dream into the European nightmare. The best way to beat Hillary is to show the American people what we're for, not what we're against. I'm the only candidate or potential candidate who's actually outlined specific ideas on health care, on education, on energy, on national defense, for how do we actually turn our country around. We need big changes in D.C. I think they make a mistake crowning Hillary. I think that it is a good thing on the Republican side. We've got an open primary with lots of potential candidates. At the end of the day, this election is about the American dream. She stands for more dependence, more borrowing, more spending. We can't afford 4 more years of this president's failed policies.
What are you going to do about immigration?
You know, right now our system is exactly backwards. The first and only thing the government needs to do right this minute is to secure the border. We don't need a 1,000-page bill. We don't need a comprehensive bill. We need to secure the border. When it comes to overall immigration policy, our approach is exactly backwards today. We have got a low wall and a narrow gate. We need the opposite. We need a high wall and a broad gate. That means after we've secured the border, we make it too hard for people who want to come to this country legally. And what that means is we're kicking out people after we educate them to compete against us. It makes no sense. An immigration policy can either make our country weaker or stronger. We need a smart immigration policy that makes our country stronger. We don't have that today. But for right now, what the President, what the Congress, what the federal government needs to do is secure the border. Stop talking about it. Just do it.
Oklahoma has a lot of military bases. Every president has close military bases. Republicans even are talking about cutting defense spending. Where do you stand on those issues?
Look, we put out a detailed paper saying the president's in the process of hollowing out our military. At a time where the federal government is spending near record portions of our economy post-World War II, we're spending record lows in terms of defending our country on the military. I think we need to be investing in our military. Yes, we need to shrink the federal government, balance our budget. We need to get up to, now not overnight, but we need to get up to about 4% of GDP in terms of military spending. We're not there today. We can be more efficient in military spending with procurement reforms, but in other efficiencies, we don't need all the growth in civilian contractors that we've seen. But right now, we've got the finest military in the entire world. It makes no sense to potentially send our men and women into harm's way if we don't give them the best training, the best equipment. We're going to have fewer soldiers, fewer tanks, fewer and older planes and ships than at any time in several years. We need to be investing in our military. I don't want our military to ever be in a fair fight. I want us to be able to dominate any potential conflict with any potential adversary. China's building a blue water Navy fleet. We need to be investing in our military.
What is the biggest problem with the Republican Party that you think needs to change?
Well, one of the things we've gotten better, I said this in 2012, we can't be the party of no. We can't be I said back then we shouldn't be the stupid party, and I think we've gotten better. I think the temptation for us is President Obama is so unpopular. It'd be very easy just to run a campaign against him. We need to show the American people what we're for. One of the things that worries me, so we had all these candidates run for the majority in the Senate and the House, and they told us, if you give us the majority, we'll stop the president's illegal amnesty, we'll repeal Obamacare, we'll stand up to a bad Iran deal, and they're not doing those things. They're waving the white flag of surrender. They're not being bold enough. I think there are a lot of voters getting frustrated saying, wait a minute, you promised us when you ran for office you were going to do all these things. Let's take Obamacare. They said they were going to repeal it. Now they're saying, well, it's too hard. You know, that's not what their ad said. And so I think it is very important that the Republican Party stand for something and we make big, bold changes. I strongly disagree with what President Obama's done, but one of the things he promised us as a candidate was he wanted to be transformative like Ronald Reagan. Now, he didn't mean move the country in that same direction, but he wanted to make big changes, and he's done that. He said he didn't want to be like Bill Clinton. He has changed our country. He's in the process of bankrupting our country here and abroad. It is up to the Republican Party to be bold, based on our principles. We need to fight just as hard to move our country back in the right direction. And I worry it is discouraging to a lot of voters when they see the lack of action in Congress.
Now, you stood by your state's film tax credits. They talk about the Duck Dynasty incentives. How is that crony capitalism, or how is that economically conservative?
Well, a couple of things. We said this year we need to we proposed cutting over $500 million of crony capitalism, where the state is actually sending more money to companies than their tax liability. We haven't raised taxes since I've been governor. I've said we got to shrink the size of government. We measure prosperity by having a smaller government or stronger economy, and that's what we've done. Cut our budget 26%. Our economy has grown twice as fast as the national economy, 3 times job creation. When it comes to film tax credits, we told the legislature we were open to making changes in the film tax credit industry, film tax credit programs. Specific legislators in the House and the Senate said they wanted to propose legislation first. We said we were fine with those changes. The only thing we say is that if you make any kind of tax changes, they need to be offset so there's no net tax increase in Louisiana. But any program where we send more money back to a company than taxes they pay, I think needs to be considered spending. It needs to be looked at the same way as we look at other spending in our state, be it healthcare or education. So we are open. We haven't taken anything off the table. We've said to the legislature, we will work with you as long as, again, this is not an excuse to grow government to raise taxes. It's got to be, at worst, tax neutral, but at best, it would be good if it was a tax cut.